And we get a chance this morning to treat with it with some of the experts in their field. I will share some names momentarily. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. Regardless of the circumstance, we still have to lift ourselves up and indeed get ready for not only the day, but the work week ahead. And we go there with that sense of hope. Let's get into the news cycle on this Monday morning. Welcome, one and all, to the Morning Brew. JW signing on. So I'm guided here by the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian, and this is, again, a most unfortunate circumstance. Corporal Anushka Eversley, that's the name of the fallen officer. Her body is being removed by the undertakers there. And it really speaks to how severe and how serious it is in terms of anyone who's in the security apparatus. You go to work, I mean, there was no inclination, no way in someone's mind you go to work and that you will not be coming home, especially under this circumstance. And again, I'm not going to speculate, huh? All kind of different theories, pelting left, right, and center. I'll be very cautious this morning. I'll be guided by the investigation. And of course, you're seeing the pain etched on the face of the family member. Unprecedented, this particular development. When I heard it, I couldn't believe it. I saw, sure, this is real news. And then I saw in our news group that it indeed was a real situation. And I'm sure there are many with questions to answer concerning that development. I'm seeing here where the front line, well, the front page says, internal betrayal. The Prime Minister reacts to killing of police corporal, but insists no need for curfew. One officer detained for questioning, and a nationwide search launched for 62 guns and ammunition stolen from the station. I can't recall in recent history of a scenario like this. This is truly unprecedented, and it speaks to a criminal underbelly, overbelly, side belly. I don't know what part of the belly, but I could tell you they have belly. To pull off something like this, or to even attempt such an action, shows a lack of concern, a lack of respect for law and enforcement and for the apparatus surrounding law enforcement. And the most unacceptable act, I really hope and I trust that the authorities, I saw the commissioner, I could see in his face, you know, the pain and the concern, and I know clearly, based on his rhetoric, he seems to be a rather serious one. So I know no stone will be left unturned. And again, I will not speculate. I will obviously be guided by the information forthcoming. We take a chance to, well, we will get a chance to have a deeper conversation with regional security expert Gavin Hira, who steps in later on this morning to treat with this very, very, very sensitive issue. And more so, we're going to treat with what message does this say to the wider public and to the security apparatus, and how do we ensure that this never takes place again? This can't happen. This can't be no new normal. It cannot be no new normal. There was also a development out of Mova last night. I saw the news, and from what we're hearing, a child was part of that unfortunate circumstance there by the flyover. Details still coming in, but I know Mova and many in the space are grieving this morning, and yet again, a child, innocent, you know, just there, you know, in the mix, gunmen opening up. Remember that situation we saw up in Upper St. James with the baby? I think was Jaden was the young baby's name, 11 months. They went for the father, and the baby was there. Obviously, daddy's sleeping, the baby's there. And oh, I mean, it goes to show again the kind of belly, the kind of lack of care, lack of concern, lack of time and place. They're not the criminal elements not even reading the room. They're not even reading the room. They just brazen with the action. And I think it's far too long. We have been held hostage. We have been on this kind of siege, and I really trust and hope the security apparatus within the parameters of the law, of course. We don't want a Wild Wild West situation, but within the parameters and the limits of the law, they could bring some really meaningful change and some stern action to shift the pendulum, to shift the particular needle where the criminals now are the ones on the side of fear as opposed to the actual citizenry. So again, we'll treat with that scenario later on this morning with regional security expert Gavin Hero. In terms of the disposal of the bodies, inside the second hour, let me bring some information in that particular direction. We will treat with founder and director of the St. Rose Funeral Home, Nicholas St. Rose, who will speak to us as to the protocol when it comes to the disposal of unclaimed bodies. That's a real situation, and there must be some kind of working plan, some kind of plan of action. It can't just be that you dispose of people willy-nilly without permission. It's going to create the big concern we would have seen over the weekend. Also treating with the issue of the Officer Anushka. We will also get some perspective during the course of the morning from former National Security Minister Marvin Gonzalez. He will step in to treat with that also inside, I would say, the second hour. So there is lots to unpack on this Monday morning, a very heavy one, but it's one that we still tackle and we try to bring some clarity and bring some semblance of, I guess hope. Hope must be the word, despite the very dark and very heavy weekend and the developments out of Mova. We still need to march on, and again, we send condolences, sincere condolences to all the families that would have been impacted by the unfortunate circumstance of the last weekend. Let's head to the back page on this Monday morning. And the back page, as we look at the sport, Red Force, we started well, but for some reason, a little shaky right now as it pertains to the batting order, batting lineup. So we're still going to keep pushing on. Obviously, we are coming up against the Leeward Islands Hurricanes right now, and, well, a little bit shaky. The full story on page 30. Again, Philip snares 6 wickets, but Red Force batsmen struggle. And we are seeing some action there from the SLA Women's, the TNT Volleyball Women's Super League. All right, big action there happening at the facility in Tacarigua, the indoor sports arena. So, well done. Sports in full swing on this Monday morning. Let's head to the brief. And as it pertains to the brief, Geriatric Society hosts community program in Diego Martin. So that's a good look. And you're seeing a dad there with his sons having a time at the Queen's Park Savannah with the Pui in blossom. It's such a beautiful sight to behold. I know people go down there and do photo shoot, you know. Yeah, they wait, they time it, and once they see the Puis in blossom, you know, you get a little window to go down and take your pictures or to art or just to be around nature in all its majesty and glory, in all her glory. So Pui in blossom, I mean, that brings a little light, a little smile to what was a very dark and very heavy weekend. As I mentioned, we will get a chance to unpack the developments during the course of the morning. But up next, we get ready for the Bourse report with Sarud. He joins us to give us the latest with the movers and shakers as it pertains to big business here in Trinidad and Tobago. Your Bourse report up next.
Magical Expressions Limited is the largest local importer and distributor of fresh cut stems, offering the widest range of beautiful flowers at the most affordable prices. Call us today at 701-6488 or visit our website to order.
Can you do this?
Looking for a smart way to grow your savings? For just a limited time, the Trinidad and Tobago Police Credit Union is offering competitive fixed deposit rates of up to 4%. That's up to 4% guaranteed when you invest with PCU Fixed Deposit. Visit any of our locations in Barataria, Arima, San Fernando, or Tobago to get started today. For more details, visit policecreditunion.com or call us at 6124-PCU. PCU. Your future is safe with us.
This is more than just music. This is where you find the best of TNT. This is more than just a vibe. This is where Bollywood gets a twist. This is more than just energy. This is Bhangra and indie pop too. This is the mix. This is the life. Log on or log on now. Sangeet 106.1 FM. This is authentic East Indian radio. This is us.
This season, Ask the Doctor is at a new time. It's your weekly prescription for trusted medical advice. In the Doctor's Capsule, Dr. Tilak Singh breaks down big health topics clearly and simply. Get a dose of smiles in the Kiddies Capsule as our youngest experts share health tips with heart. Explore the science behind the headlines in Medical Minds, featuring real doctors, real insight, and your questions matter. Join the open forum live and get answers straight from the source. Ask the Doctor, every Thursday at 8 p.m. only on CNC3.
This town isn't as safe as it used to be. You remember that laundromat that burnt down? We offered protection, but they refused.
So you're telling me that if I pay you, you'll protect me from... Gentlemen, I think you've been watching too many cheap American soaps.
Westwood Park, Saturdays at 7:30 p.m. only on CNC3.
Some of us like to test limits, but there won't always be second chances. Obey the speed limits. Maybe you don't value your life, but others value theirs. A message from the TTPS.
Through every storm and every sunrise, a familiar face and a trusted voice returns to your forecast.
This is where it all began. Good afternoon, Simone. Welcome home. Welcome home.
Stronger, sharper, ready to serve you again.
2 minutes, the news.
Because when it comes to your weather,
I'm Sigoni Mohammed with your CNC3 weather forecast. It's good to be home.
Alejandro, you're still alive.
Mr. Alejandro! Mrs. Lucia! Mrs. Lucia, come quick, Mr.
Alejandro! My goodness! You're so... Sophia!
Don't miss the gripping drama Cabo. Sundays at 8 p.m. only on CNC3.
In the ever-changing media landscape, we at Guardian Media strive always to put you, our viewers and readers, first.
We strive to uphold the time-honored tenets of responsible journalism.
For us, accuracy is key.
And in our reporting, we strive not only to be first, but fair,
impartial,
and to uphold journalistic integrity.
Above all, we are accountable to you, and we must respect the views of our audience. That is our solemn contract with you.
Keen attention to detail.
Rigorous verification of facts.
Use of credible sources and sound editorial judgment.
Keep track of our editorial policies and guidelines, including our corrections policy, by logging on to www.guardian.co.tt for more.
Volleyball
filmmakers, producers, content creators, influencers, and recording artists. If you're looking to rent a versatile studio space with green screen, video wall, cyclorama, and more, look no further. GM Labs is here to make your dreams a reality. Located in the heart of Port of Spain on St. Vincent Street, GM Labs is your one-stop shop for all your creative needs with over 2,800 square feet to work with. Take your creative concept to the final product at GM Labs. Give us a call or WhatsApp or message us on our Instagram and Facebook pages at GM Labs TT.
Sportsmanship is when an athlete walks off the court and you can't tell if he won or lost because he carries himself with pride either way. This quote is an embodiment of sport, and for me, sport is an embodiment of life. We are where you are.
Every Monday we get a chance to hear from Sarud about the movers and shakers when it comes to big business. It's your Bourse Report and it's up next. Sarud, good morning.
That and Tobago Stock Exchange, of course, we're talking about the Ansem McCall Group, as well as one of its significantly owned subsidiaries, Anthem and Bank Limited. Now, both groups would have reported some fairly resilient results in the current environment. Let's take a look at what that would have been and what investors might expect in the coming months ahead. Turning firstly to Anthem McCall, and for their fiscal year ended December 2025, the group reported an earnings per share figure of $3.28, which was a marginal 1.2% decline from the $3.32 recorded in that prior comparable period of fiscal 2024. Now, importantly, earnings per share from continuing operations would have actually improved 3% from the $3.34 reported in that prior comparable period to $3.44 in the most recently concluded fiscal period. Now, revenues were one of the primary drivers for that improved continuing operations performance, up 9.4% from $7.1 to $7.78 billion. Ultimately, operating profits improved 23% from $961 to just about $1.18 billion. However, there was a fairly significant increase, a 181% increase, in fact, in finance costs from $67.9 to $191 million, which led ultimately to profit before tax from continuing operations improving just about 9.9% from $922 to just over the $1 billion mark, with profit attributable to equity holders ultimately decreasing that 1.1% to $565 million from that $571 million dollars. Now, when we take a look at the operating segments and their respective performances, somewhat of a mixed bag, but generally consistent improvement in Anthem McCall's largest operating segment, for example, construction, manufacturing, packaging, and brewing, in that bluish color. We can see that there was growth from $612 million in that profit before tax to $657 million, a roughly 7.3 to 7.4% increase. Banking and insurance also increased fairly significantly, up around 38.5% from $213 to $295 million in that lilac segment. There was, however, a roughly 10% decline in PBT contribution from the auto trading and distribution segment, from $190 million to just about $170 million over the comparable periods, and a continued loss in the operating segment of media services, retail, and parent company, with that loss actually widening from $91 million to $108 million over those comparable periods. Now, importantly for Anthem McCall, their operating profit margin continues to improve quite considerably, going from a low of 7.5% in that fiscal period of 2022, consistently improving to the current level of 15.2%. So continued improvement there, as we can see, which is going to redound to shareholders' benefit over the coming quarters and subsequent periods, with profit before tax margin also improving consistently, stabilizing right now at around just about 13%. The important news, of course, for Anthem McCall shareholders would have been that suspension of dividend payments over the 3-year period from fiscal 25 to fiscal 27. Prior to this, Antimacaque would have been one of the most consistent and predictable dividend stocks on the Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange, and that may have contributed to its roughly 50% decline since that announcement, as well as a general lackluster investor environment over the Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange. So at a price of $39.50, Antimacaque is trading at a price-to-earnings ratio of about 12 times, which is broadly in line with the sector average of 11 times. And again, with the suspension of dividends, it does not offer a dividend at this particular point in time compared to the sector average of 4%. So with revenue growth in mind, that continued acquisition activity and geographical diversification. But however, we down a bit over the medium term with that suspension of dividend payments. Bourse is maintaining its market rate watch on Antimacaque with a watch outlook for the time being. Turning very quickly to Anthem Merchant Bank Limited, well, for its fiscal period of 2025, the group would have reported an earnings per share figure of $2.83 per share, which was a roughly 49% increase from the $1.90 per share recorded in that prior comparable period. Now, driving this performance was an overall 17.1% increase in that net insurance service result from 92 to 107 million. Net operating income actually improving a whopping 30% from 515 to 674 million. Overall, profit attributable to equity holders improved 49% from 162 million to just about $242 million. Again, in terms of segment performance for Anthem Merchant, well, it was green lights across the board in terms of growth across segments. Its banking services segment in that orangish color, for example, grew over comparable periods from 81 to 126 million, or roughly 55% increase. Mutual funds, its smallest segment, still delivered a 260% increase, growing in terms of PBT contribution from 5 million to 18 million, and life and general insurance operations growing actually around 45 to 46% in that pinkish segment from 142 to just about $208 million over the comparable periods. Of course, when we take a look at its earnings per share trajectory over the past few fiscal years, you can see that it has been consistently improving since that fiscal 2022 period from $1.51 in fiscal 2023 to $2.83 in the most recently concluded fiscal period. And with that decline or diminution in share price over the past few years, we can see that price to earnings ratio has moderated to a fairly attractive 8.7 times when compared to its own historical average price to earnings ratio levels. So at that price of $24.50, Anthem Merchant is trading at that price earnings ratio of 8.7 times, again well below that sector average of 29.6 times. Anthem Merchant has preserved its dividend and offers us dividend yield of around 5%, which is smack in line with that sector average of just around that 5% level. So with improved operating income in mind, however, keeping an eye on some high operating expenses and of course continued market uncertainties, particularly related to market volatility, which has been taking place at the broader international level. Bourse is maintaining a market week rating on EMBL for this particular point in time with a watch outlook as well. Well, that's it for this week's edition. For more information, you can give us a call at 226-8773 or to Bourse. Email us at info@boursefinancial.com. And of course, you can check out our website, bourseinvestment.com, where all of our research is absolutely free. And you can catch this article in today's business section of the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian newspaper. So until next time, stay safe, happy investing, and we'll see you again on the Bourse Report.
At Cruise Inn Hotel and Yachting Center, we're all about time. In fact, once you check in, there's no time to lose. Reconnect with a little family time. Make a splash with some pool time. Spend some treasured quality time. Or just immerse yourself in some quiet time. Indulge your senses at dinner time. We even have the perfect venue when it's your celebration time. So it's high time you visit Cruise Inn. Choose our day pass or call 607-4000 to make your dinner or hotel reservations or to find out more about our event spaces. Take a time out at Cruise Inn Hotel and Yachting Center.
Today.
team, let's do this. You can get the help you need to succeed with Rand Credit Union. You can believe that you can achieve. Big goals, small ones too. Rand Credit Union, we've got you. No more waiting, that won't do. Make someday today. One life, so make it good. Live the way you know you should. With Rand Credit Union, yes you could. Make someday today.
Live your best life today with Rand Credit Union.
As promised, the regional security expert, Dr. Garvin Hira, joins me on the Zoom line to try to unpack, bring some kind of clarity to that most unfortunate circumstance. We all woke up to the news yesterday, and I'm sure, Dr. Hira, when you heard it yourself, I mean, I, for a moment, was asking, well, you know, is this for real? It was so unprecedented. I can't recall in recent history something so brazen. And it really brings more questions and answers at this point in time. Obviously, we can't speculate. I know investigations are ongoing. But I am baffled as to how this transpired. And I'm trying to figure out, I don't think the criminal element are so brazen to figure out that, hey, you know what, we're going to rob a police station. I mean, this is quite, as I said earlier, unprecedented. And I just want people like yourself to try to make some sense of this situation and probably let us know what's the messaging at this point in time and how do we change that particular messaging if indeed it's one that bringing about fear and a lot of uncertainty among the population. Dr. Hira, good morning to you.
Hi, morning GW, morning Trinidad and Tobago, morning to the team in studio, a lot of mornings. A lot of stuff to talk about, Jason, and before we actually go to that situation there, we have to understand that this is happening on the heels, on the brink of a number of various occurrences within the last 72 hours. We have a travel advisory out of, I think, I can't remember the countries exactly, but the travel advisory was promulgated in international domain with regard to traveling to Trinidad and Tobago, warning against crime and criminality. And then on top of that, the discovery of the 50 bodies. Initially, it was reported in a mass grave somewhere off the city of Port of Spain. But I was receiving this from Al Jazeera. And so it had hit in the international stage with regard to the 50 bodies. And then again, although we had the situation of the death of the police officer and the breach of the municipal police station, we have a quadruple murder in Mova last night. So, you know, it is not the type of news you want to start your Monday morning with. And of course, now we have to treat and to deal with the issue of this specific crime that would have taken place. And you're quite correct. It is not within our history to have seen something like that, but it has been in our history to have recognized where state agencies, police stations have been targeted. There have been theft. There have been shootings, you know, way back into the 70s, into 2000. So there were a number of historic challenges that law enforcement would have faced. This one, however, as we say in local lingo, has taken the cake. An officer is dead and 56 guns are missing. You know, so that's a heavy dent in the reputation of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. And I think I want to start there. The reputational damage has been done. And therefore, it is very important now in all of the approaches and the tactics that the commissioner, and of course, as I advised very early yesterday, the multi-agency, multi-pronged approach is going to take is in treating with this, of course, recovering these weapons, of course, bringing the perpetrators to justice, but more importantly now, restoring and rebuilding the reputation of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service and the confidence and trust within the citizenry. Now, I know there have been a number of releases, and I think there have been some defense as to municipal police separate from the police station or whatever. But the man on the street, all he's hearing is police station. All he's understanding is police station. and be it municipal or whatever, a police station was breached and 56 guns have been stolen and an officer is dead. You know, I've also seen some recent post allegations or confirmations, and maybe we could have that discussion where they think somebody is in custody, or maybe there may be persons in custody and some aspect of the weapons have been recovered. I don't have confirmation on that.
Well, yeah, I'm hearing of one person being questioned, an officer. I didn't hear of any firearms recovered just yet. But I want to ask, when it comes to police protocol, is it customary to have one officer manning a station, especially at night?
Yeah, I think it's a question that the authorities of the police service really needs to drill into and give specific details, and I'll use your term, protocols. But I would say with regard to security, it is not a normal practice to have one person on duty in any facility, agency, station, whatever, overnight. It's not customary also to have one person on patrol in a vehicle, because there's always the what if situation and things will escalate, and more importantly, safety, security, be it critical illness or whatever happens, an attack or breach as we just saw, or any other sort of support that needs to be generated from that specific site. So it is not normal to have one person duty. But as for police protocol, I think police authorities need to address that, whether it's customary, so we can be educated.
So with the municipal police stations, with the police posts, with this brazen attack, I mean, I hope we will never see something like this again. But what messaging should come out of the TTPS to ensure that the criminal element do not get the impression that these are soft targets?
Exactly. I think that narrative, that messaging has to not only come from a verbal, firm voice of authority, but verbal, firm actions and tactics, showing that we are not going to roll over and take this. We're not sitting down. One of our officers is dead, and of course our arms and ammunition is missing, and therefore action showing a response that will definitely send the right message into the undergrowth where the underworld exists. But of course, the messaging has to be a reassurance that this is not something that the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service is proud of. And I should say national security. Some people are still saying, you know, it's municipal police and not an attack on national security. When you look at it, 56 guns. Hear how it's an attack on national security. And I stand to be corrected. I'm not going to go down a dispute or discuss with anybody way above my salary range. You see, people above my salary range have said things differently. 56 guns have been taken, and arms and ammunition. Where are they going to land? These 56 guns are going to land into the hands of criminals on the street, of organized crime groups who wants to take control of communities and take control of their territory. And they are willing to use these arms against law-abiding citizens and against law enforcement officers. That is an attack on national security. That's how we have to see it, the wider consequence of the criminality. So although it's not a police station that was breached, it was a municipal police station that was breached. And the arms and the ammunition belongs to the state. And they're going to end up in the hands of criminals who are willing to use it against law-abiding citizens and law enforcement officers. That's how we have to see it. The severity of this is that weapons that are of the state property could very well end up in the hands of criminals if law enforcement don't recover those arms in quick succession. That is my point.
You know, and we'll come back to the arms in a few, because obviously it's arms and ammunition that would have been taken from the municipal police station. But as it pertains to municipal police officers, those who protect the borough, I know there's a municipal police station right there by City Hall. You know, they have different locations all around. There's one also in Sawa by the market.
Nakuna, yeah.
Right. Do these officers, the families, the Eversley family, will there be any kind of benefit to the family? I've been hearing that it's a different setup for municipal officers compared to the regular TTPS officers. What happens in that regard? And if that's the case, this is the moment to probably bring about some change.
Yeah, definitely, and change for the betterment, because we have to understand. Let us hold on the benefit talk for a minute, Jason, and let's put the spotlight on the municipal police officers who are still exposing their lives to high risk, because they are outside there as gatekeepers, as peacemakers, as responders to situations at the crime scenes within the estate and the territory that they have been asked to protect. So there's a risk factor, and therefore, in the event that this risk factor it explodes into a fact that somebody becomes damaged while on duty, or an exchange of gunfire in the protection of life and limb, that risk factor must have somewhere in the fine print benefits for the exposure to this risk. And therefore, being killed on duty, like we saw with the officer of the Eversley WPC, then I honestly believe if it's not there, it needs to be reviewed and examined, and the powers that be has the authority of the pen to fix that and to fix it now, so that there can be some downrange amendments to how we do business. Sadly, as you mentioned, Eversley family, I think I saw somewhere in my research a couple of years ago, the WPC's brother was also killed under questionable conditions. And I think it's the same date. How coincidental can this be? So a lot of stuff is happening out there in the investigation canvas. And I'm hoping that the investigators are paying attention to the fine details.
As it pertains to the guns and ammunition, let's go back to that for a few before I segue into what we heard coming out of MOVA last night. Do you think these guns, well, not so much the ammunition, but the guns especially, would be a kind of no-go zone even for the criminal element, because these are registered, licensed TTPS firearms? So I'm thinking if anyone is caught with said firearm, that will put yourself not only in problems, but because you're having an illegal firearm, but you're having government-registered machinery, equipment. Do you think this will be a kind of no-go zone, or the criminal element, based on your research and the empiricals out there, they do business, gun is gun, and they're just going to use it for their work of evil?
Yeah, for conversation, Jason, it's a sort of what I'll call mobile scale. At one time it will tip or whatever. There are criminals who, regardless of whoever this gun belongs to, is a gun, and therefore we are interested in it for our territory, for our protection. There are some who would say, hey, keep that away from me. I don't want nothing to do with national security weaponry. I don't want to be on the wrong side of that. You hold on to that. I don't want no part of that. So it's an even Steven kind of approach on that. However, the removal of 50, you have 56 guns in a vault, and an opportunity presents itself, and you're stealing 5 or 6 or something. If it's one, you are removing these guns because somebody else is interested in them. You're not removing 56 guns to hold it in storage. Hey, we have guns for sale, 56 guns in our possession. It is because somebody has already, don't be surprised, might be paid for it already. The SALW in transnational organized crime, small arms and light weapons trade, is an international, transnational organized crime enterprise. I would throw out this rhetorically. Then who's to say whether these guns were going to stay in Trinidad or not? Suppose they are also being shipped out to some sort of other country with a foreign purchaser of these weapons. Who knows? But what I would like to see, however, is crime scene management. I would like to just throw that out, and it's not to tell the police what to do. I'm quite what I'll call confident in the police service and their investigative processes and the senior investigations capabilities of our police service. But I would like to also advise, and we're free to have that conversation, that the crime scene of that criminal occurrence is not just the area of the homicide or the vault or within the confines of that municipal police station. The entire police station, I'd go further to say the perimeter of that police station, if possible, extended outwards into the surrounding block of that building, is a crime scene. There will be evidence that will be all around there that can help in that investigation, including the technological tracking and, of course, the removal, the opening of a gate, the loading of the guns, the vehicles that have been used, extend that crime scene and go with a fine teeth comb, leave no stones unturned to treat with any evidence that can be surfaced. Because that was not a one-man job, and that was not an overnight job. Hey, we have 56 guns, we could steal that. That is something that was planned. That was something that was orchestrated, coordinated, and executed with support. So therefore, it spells of an organized crime group utilizing rogue officers of the state to execute.
Well, and that's indeed a harsh reality. We have the situation, the most unfortunate circumstance out of Mova. We're just going to show some footage from that. You're seeing where families are totally distraught. You know, they were returning from Harry's Water Park, from what we understand, preliminary reports coming in. A child is among one of the 4 that perished last evening. And, you know, I'm asking myself, what next? We are actually going through, we are in a state of emergency. And the criminal element, brazen, no regard, no honor. At least the criminals back in the day would have seen a child in the mix and say, you know what, until the next one. And they will rally back, whatever. But we're seeing where it's a brazen, really wicked act. We saw what happened in Upper St. James a couple of weeks ago with the father and his 11-month baby. You know, so we're seeing where children and all are becoming victims. And it's not something that we have seen yesterday or last week. It's been ongoing. How could we, even though we're in a state of emergency, put a real serious marker down to send a serious message to the criminal elements that this is not going to be tolerated and this cannot be the way forward?
Amen. Yeah, Jason, I'm on your bench with that one for sure, because I'll add one more to that. Remember down there in the play park in San Fernando, I think it was a husband and wife or common law husband and wife or whatever, but it was in the vicinity of a play park. Children were playing in the open fire. Bullets flying left, right, and center, and children had to take cover. Remember that situation somewhere down in South? Mm-hmm, yeah. So clearly these shooters have no respect for human life, and they have no respect for the community, the citizenry, and the state. They're disrespecting law and order, including law enforcement officers. And therefore, you know, it's not just about investigations here and trying to find out who these people are. I think a full message needs to be sent. They have declared a war against the state, and we are in a state of emergency. So therefore, the law enforcement officers needs to approach this with a firm hand. How they need to do that, I don't think there are some conversations that probably is not for the public. They need to know how to go out there and deal with that, because these people are continuing to threaten the stability of our country. And we have the arms of the state that are well prepared to treat with that. And I think very, very important is that intelligence gathering on who these people are, and go out there and deal with it. Because at the end of the day, this is something that, you know, we have a term that we use in the industry called zero tolerance. I think we've gone past the zero tolerance, you know. And Yassin Abubakar had said something many, many years ago. And you're quite correct. It's not of the same old, same old. He said the code has been broken in that they're now killing women and children. You know, and so the crime and criminality went into another phase, and we've seen a spiral destruction of our human dignity. This is a serious situation. Trinidad and Tobago has to take up a motion. I would say more so a transformation of reformation and restoration with regard to who we are as an identity and as a people, because the reputational damage, we opened with that, has been done internationally. We are not looking good. And we have to restore that. We have to show that we are taking back that. And to take back that, sometimes we have to go mano dura, steel fist on this. Yeah. Mano dura is a technique that was used in Latin America. I supported and assisted that initiative from a different dispensation. So I'm saying this is time for mano dura.
Dr. Garvin Hero, as always, thanks for the perspective, and we pray and hope, and we not only pray and hope, but we try to bring actions, meaningful actions, so that we could have a reversal and we could bring this back. All the best, and let's touch base soon.
God bless. Stay safe, and thanks again for the conversation.
That's right. We want to continue. We will continue with this conversation. Marvin Gonzalez joins me next to treat with this particular development, and just to get, you know, some recommendations as to what can be done from that place of legislation, if indeed there are any particular bills that will be supported, any particular ideas forthcoming, so that we could all be on the same page to treat with this most unfortunate circumstance. Marvin Gonzalez joins me next.
Things don't always go as expected. Be ready with Trinry for auto, home, business and group life. Call us at 800-TRIN or visit trinry.com today. Huge insurance premium. Pay your premiums bit by bit with FlexiPay from Trinry. For more manageable auto, home and commercial insurance payments, call us at 800-TRIN or visit trinry.com today. Trinry. Premier insurance coverage for less.
Visit Tire Clinic Marketing, New Truck and OTR Tire Service Center at number 30 and 32 Montrose Main Road, Chaguanas. Call today at 665-8973 or 672-3419. Alignment services available. Tire Clinic Marketing, Truck and OTR Service Center. A tire for every need.
Struggling with blood sugar swings, high blood pressure, or stiff joints? Take control with Aja Nutrition's powerful wellness trio. Berberine Plus supports healthy blood sugar. Blood pressure support helps keep your pressure in check. And Joint Aid keeps your joints moving so you can stay active every day. Don't wait. Choose Aja Nutrition for trusted, effective solutions. Available at Pennywise and leading pharmacies nationwide. Feel better, move better, live better with Aja Nutrition.
You can make your goals unfold, go get it. You can live your dream, join the team, let's do this. You can get the help you need to succeed with Rand Credit Union. You can believe that you can achieve. Big goals, small ones too. Rand Credit Union, we've got you. No more waiting, that won't do. Make someday today. One life, so make it good. Live the way you know you should. With Rand Credit Union, yes you could. Make someday today.
Live your best life today with Rand Credit Union.
This season, Ask the Doctor is at a new time. It's your weekly prescription for trusted medical advice. In the Doctor's Capsule, Dr. Tilak Singh breaks down big health topics clearly and simply. Get a dose of smiles in the Kiddies Capsule as our youngest experts share health tips with heart. Explore the science behind the headlines in Medical Minds, featuring real doctors, real insight, and your questions matter. Join the open forum live and get answers straight from the source. Ask the Doctor, every Thursday at 8 p.m. only on CNC3.
Some of us like to test limits, but there won't always be second chances. Obey the speed limits. Maybe you don't value your life, but others value theirs. A message from the TTPS.
All filmmakers, producers, content creators, influencers, and recording artists. If you're looking to rent a versatile studio space with green screen, video wall, cyclorama, and more, look no further. GM Labs is here to make your dreams a reality. Located in the heart of Port of Spain on St. Vincent Street, GM Labs is your one-stop shop for all your creative needs with over 2,800 square feet to work with. Take your creative concept to the final product at GM Labs. Give us a call or WhatsApp or message us on our Instagram and Facebook pages at GM Labs TT.
Sportsmanship is when an athlete walks off the court and you can't tell if he won or lost because he carries himself with pride either way. This quote is an embodiment of sport, and for me, sport is an embodiment of life. We are where you are.
Member of Parliament and, of course, opposition politician, of course, also wearing the cap of national security, getting that little understanding of the portfolio in his last tenure. Marvin Gonzalez joins me on set this morning to treat with this most unfortunate circumstance, Marvin. I mean, obviously, MP, I'm seeing where it says on the front page, internal betrayal. And I guess this speaks to some of the powers that be kind of giving an early perspective. Again, people don't really want to speculate. We don't know what are some of the intimate details. But what we could say is that an officer is no more and her family are trying to pick up the pieces this morning.
It's a very sad state of affairs in Trinidad and Tobago this morning. When yesterday we woke up to the news that a very police station that is charged with the responsibility of protecting citizens and protecting communities, that very police station was the subject of a very heinous attack by criminals. And in the circumstances, the life of a law enforcement officer was lost. So I think I need to start by saying condolences to the family and friends and the entire policing and law enforcement fraternity for what has transpired yesterday.
MP Gonzalez, would you say this is a watershed moment? Because obviously we would have had incidents that would have shaken the collective cage of the country. But very quick before we head to the news, I mean, I remember as a youngster, the coup was a kind of watershed moment, and there were other incidents. But this year, this is so unprecedented, as it would have been using all morning.
Yes.
To know that elements could be so brazen to attack a police station, which is a place that's supposed to be a beacon of security and safety.
It is, in fact, a watershed moment, and it's interesting that you talk about the 1990 coup, because as a former law enforcement officer myself, thinking about the situation yesterday and this morning, I cannot think of any other situation that took place over the last 25 or 30 years in Trinidad and Tobago, apart from the 1990 insurrection, that was a direct attack and threat to national security in Trinidad and Tobago. And what makes this even more egregious is that Trinidad and Tobago has been and is under a state of public emergency when all of our law enforcement officials, all of our law enforcement infrastructure and institutions supposed to be operating under high alert, and all of the arms of intelligence supposed to be operating into high gear. And in this situation, you have, in the midst of a state of emergency, a police station being attacked and a police officer being killed within the walls of a police station, the very place that has the responsibility for protecting the national community and the community. This is a watershed moment, and it strikes, again, as I said, at the heart of national security in Trinidad and Tobago. It sends a signal to the state that the criminals are not, they are very much prepared to take on national security and law enforcement officials within their own domain.
MP Gonzalez, I want you to stick around because we want to continue this conversation after 7. We're getting ready for the 7 a.m. news update. We'll come back actually after the news with a package to recap not only this most unfortunate circumstance in South, but some of the other incidents that would have grabbed public attention over the weekend. And we come with some recommendations inside the second hour. See you soon.
Shop and save at PRW, the People's Company. Check us for all your computer and electronic needs. 65-inch TCL Smart TV only $4,800. Get a HP laptop for $3,100. Epson all-in-one ink tank printer $1,799. Gaming cases from $299. Bluetooth party speaker $2,500. Acer 19.5-inch monitor $799. Call PRW today.
Time Check, brought to you by the Central Bank and the National Financial Literacy Program.
Good morning, I'm Sweeney Gray with headline news on CNC3 and the TBC Radio Network. Police have been carrying out a series of raids across the country as the investigation intensifies into the killing of WPC Anushka Eversley inside the San Fernando Municipal Police Station on Sunday. While initial reports claimed that 62 weapons had been stolen, the police commissioner says that number cannot be confirmed at this time. He is, however, trying to reassure the public that the situation is under control and that all motives are being considered, including the fact that it may have been an inside job. But security expert Dr. Gavin Hira is not mincing words. He says the incident is a direct assault on national security.
I would be very disheartened that an officer, sworn to protect the rights of citizens and uphold the laws of Trinidad and Tobago, could do something so heinous to one of his own fellow officers.
However, criminologist Dr. Andy Sipasad said while the attack is unprecedented, he does not agree that it warrants the resignation of the police commissioner or the Minister of Homeland Security.
This is a dangerous and unacceptable breach, and those weapons now in criminal hands pose an immediate threat to public safety. So let me be clear. This signals a new level of boldness by organized crime. We are now seeing a direct targeting of state security infrastructure, and that must be treated with the highest level of urgency.
National Nurses Association says it will come down hard on any member found attending to more than 6 patients at a time during their shift from April 28th. It comes from President of the National Nurses Association, Edie Stewart, as the union intensifies its action against the Health Ministry and the regional authorities. Speaking Saturday, President Stewart said the TTNNA was implementing the new policy it says was approved by the Health Ministry but not implemented. Stewart says patient health is compromised when nurses have too many people to care for. He has told members to report to them if they are assigned more than 6 patients.
Do not see about any patient above 6. So going forward, from the 28th of April, going forward, we are telling one registered nurse to no more than 6 patients. We at the association will write up any nurse who compromises patient care going forward. We will do that, and we will report you to the Nursing Council.
He says nurses will be given a form to report these violations. He also says the union is planning another mass demonstration to the Red House to protest government inaction in the health sector. Those were your 7 a.m. news headlines. We'll have another news update at 8 a.m. on the TBC Radio Network.
Your future is safe with us. No matter your age or where you're from, or what doors are open to each and every one. Your financial needs are sure to be met. At Police Credit Union, there's zero regrets. A variety of services that's accessible and reliable. Here to show you just what service is. Helping where we can, but with a smile. So grow with us today. We can do this together. We can secure the future. We can secure the future.
Police Credit Union. Your future is safe with us.
Ready to engineer your future? Join the Association of Professional Engineers of Trinidad and Tobago for the Technical Conference Tuesday, May 12th and Wednesday, 13th at the Hyatt Regency. Discover cutting-edge solutions shaping our Caribbean future. Hear from leading international, regional, and local experts with over 20 dynamic presentations. Engineers, students, professionals, this is your space. APET Technical Conference 2026. Sustainable, smart, and resilient.
Welcome back to this second hour. Before we get into further discussions with MP Gonzalez, let me take you to a Sasha Wilson report, just giving us a recap of some of what we consider to be most unfortunate, a very dark weekend here in Trinidad. So for those who would have missed some of the news cycle, we'll go through the recap and then we continue our conversation here inside hour number 2.
The San Fernando Municipal Police Station transformed into a crime scene after a police corporal was shot dead during the early hours of this morning and a large quantity of firearms and ammunition stolen. Relatives and close colleagues were inconsolable at the gates this morning after Corporal Anushka Eversley was found dead after 4 this morning with an apparent gunshot wound to the neck. Police say they are still trying to establish the details of the attack and how it went undetected, despite other officers being under compound.
The murder of acting Corporal Anusha Eversley inside the San Fernando Municipal Police Station just behind me has rocked public confidence in safety and security, especially with a state of emergency in effect. Speaking at a press conference, Police Commissioner Alistair Guevara urged the public to remain calm as investigations continue, while Homeland Security Minister Roger Alexander continues to express confidence in the police service.
No further details can be provided at this time as the matter is currently being investigated.
While he refused to disclose details, he assures it's a one-off incident and that the state apparatus system is working and persons will be held accountable.
We are not going to sit idly by and allow this sweet country of Trinidad and Tobago to be overrun by any criminality by their behavior. We have law-abiding citizens, and I said there's less than 500 serious criminals we have in this country, holding 1.4 million persons to ransom. We won't allow that to happen now.
As for motive, all avenues, including the fact that it may have been an inside job, has not been ruled out.
I would be very disheartened.
Despite the seriousness of the incident, Homeland Security Minister Roger Alexander says a curfew has not been discussed. And he also says the government has not lost the fight against crime.
And I continue to say, things have been going out of control for a number of years. And you all expect us to arrive and fix it immediately. It don't work like that.
But security expert Gavin Heras is not mincing words. He says this is a direct assault on national security.
This is a dangerous and unacceptable breach, and those weapons now in criminal hands pose an immediate threat to public safety. So let me be clear. This signals a new level of boldness by organized crime. We are now seeing a direct targeting of state security infrastructure, and that must be treated with the highest level of urgency.
Criminologist Dr. Randy Sipasad says the attack is unprecedented, but he does not agree that it warrants the resignation of the Commissioner or Minister of Homeland Security. Now, the police commissioner is promising an update on this incident within 24 hours. Sasha Wilson, CNC3 News.
So again, that's a most unfortunate circumstance. And coming out of that, MP Gonzalez, I want to go to some of the commentary from the Prime Minister. Now, obviously, the Prime Minister will be privy to information that probably is not forthcoming to myself and the wider population. And she would have said in a statement that the incident at the police station was not an external attack on the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service or other national security agencies. Instead, she said it was a, quote, internal betrayal within the Trinidad and Tobago Municipal Police Service. And she went on to actually say that there is a distinction actually between the TTPS and the Trinidad and Tobago Municipal Police. Let me just start with the last part first. Is there a distinction between the two?
There is a distinction, but they are all under the supervision of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service and the Police Commissioner. They all fall within the command of the Police Commissioner, whether or not you are a state constable, a municipal police officer, a transit police officer. Even though they have they are separate streams of management, they are all estate constables bearing arms and ammunition issued by, and the power to bear arms and ammunition issued by the Commissioner of Police. And the law is very clear that they all fall within the direction and the ambit of the Commissioner of Police, even though it is a distinct organization from the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. It is very unfortunate that the Prime Minister chose to make that distinction, because what she's attempting to do there is to trivialize a very serious, important national security matter by telling the country effectively that this is a municipal police officer, it is not a Trinidad and Tobago Police or TTPS officer, and therefore it ought not to be taken with the level of seriousness. We're talking about a police post that has over close to 78 high-powered weapons, 4,000 ammunition missing in the hands of criminals as we speak. And the Prime Minister chooses to make a distinction, and worse yet, saying that it is something, it's an internal betrayal. What does that mean, internal betrayal? Okay, well, if it is an internal betrayal, you're somehow suggesting that it is one of the colleagues of the deceased or crime victim, or the crime victim, the woman police constable, one of her colleagues may have been involved in this, but every day, Trinidad and Tobago, we are hearing, especially in recent times, detention orders being issued to contain and to detain police officers who are attached to the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, being allegedly affiliated with gangs and criminal activity. So what is the Prime Minister trying to say? That it is an internal betrayal from the Trinidad and Tobago Municipal Police organization, and therefore we should carry on as though our lawful life and don't be worried about anything, because it is simply an internal betrayal. Internal betrayal means that you are well affiliated with the criminal elements outside of the country, outside of the police station. And by so doing, you are prepared to collude with criminals to attack your colleagues within the walls of a police station. So the Prime Minister's attempt to trivialize this matter is very unfortunate. And I can just imagine how municipal police officers are feeling this morning, given the conduct and the statement of the Prime Minister to water down, or attempt rather, to trivialize this matter. I can just imagine how the families and the friends and the colleagues of that woman police officer who fell victim to this crime, how they are feeling this morning, when the Prime Minister should have come out last night at prime time and addressed a traumatized country and a traumatized law enforcement fraternity, and she chooses to make that distinction on a press release, or rather a post on social media. It is a very, very unfortunate state of affairs in Trinidad and Tobago, where again there's a vacuum of leadership.
MP Gonzalez, I put forward this question to regional security expert Dr. Hira inside the last hour. And the same question I want to pose to you to get your reaction. What messaging, what should be done from the TTPS side of things to ensure that criminal elements do not get the idea that municipal stations or police posts, because police posts are also small setup, you know, a kind of subsidiary to the main station. Mm-hmm. How do they ensure the messaging and the tactics are in place to not give the criminal element the impression that these stations are soft targets?
Jason, yesterday, when that police officer was discovered murdered in that police station, the entire South and Central Trinidad should have been locked down. A curfew should have been declared. We should have been communicating with our law enforcement fraternity in Venezuela and countries in South America. We should have been communicating with our colleagues and law enforcement fraternity in the region to look out for any suspect vessel that might be leaving the shores of Trinidad and Tobago that might be carrying those illegal firearms and ammunition. The whole of South and Central, and perhaps the whole of Trinidad and Tobago, should have been placed on a lockdown, and every crevice and every house and every place should have been searched to get those firearms and ammunition out of the hands of criminals in order to protect the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. That is the way in which you treat with serious matters like that. I was shocked. I haven't heard that there was any major lockdown in South Trinidad coming out of this unfortunate incident. That's how you send messages to the criminals. When they attack you on your own ground, you have to respond, and you have to respond decisively, not old talk, not foolish talk that we have heard so far from those who are responsible.
Well, MP Gonzalez, some might actually argue that the Zozo was framed and was built to do such, where if an incident transpired, they could have locked in that particular area, but obviously it was not supported by the opposition and the independent senators. What's your argument for those who might say the Zozo could be the remedy at this point in time to treat with the kind of spikes and the incidents we would have had over the weekend?
I don't agree, because we could consider a police station a Zozo in itself. We're supposed to be more secure than the walls of a police station. And if the criminals are prepared to go into the police station and murder a law enforcement officer and to steal firearms and ammunition, then it sends a signal that not even Zozo will contain the criminals, exactly what we told the government. And I'm telling you, you have criminals in state institutions, because 2 states of emergency were declared in this country since this government came into power. And the statement by the president, Jason, I said it here on this program, where I quoted statements from the president justifying the state of emergency as advised by the head of the National Security Council, which is the Prime Minister, and the Minister of Homeland Security, that criminals within state institutions were plotting to kill law enforcement officials and members of the judiciary. You tell me about Zozo?
Yeah, that was the first time around.
It speaks to corruption in the heart of law enforcement in this country. And if we are not prepared to tackle that, no amount of Zozo.
So you think that's the crux, that's the real crux of the issue, really?
That is the crux of the issue, especially given what the Prime Minister has said. That is just an example of the level of corruption within law enforcement in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Because when criminals can stay within the walls of the prison and conspire with criminals on the outside to murder law enforcement officials, as said by this government, how is Zozo? Are you going to declare Zozo in the prison? Are you not going to declare Zozo in police stations? So this talk of Zozo is just public distraction and an inability on the part of the government to confront criminals in the way that we're supposed to confront. There are criminality in state institutions that is contributing to the state of lawlessness in Trinidad and Tobago. And you see, we can't always talk about what they should be doing. Well, of course, we should be talking about that. But before the general election, we passed a bill in the parliament, in the 12th parliament, in the 13th parliament. Now, I think I spoke in that bill when I was Minister of Public Utilities, and that bill talked about integrity testing for police officers, for defense force officers, members of the judiciary, members of the FIU, immigration officer, customs division, etc. And that bill was geared towards the issue that I'm just raising here, with the state of affairs in law enforcement and corruption in law enforcement. And that bill was geared towards ensuring that law enforcement officials, depending on the investigations that they are engaged in or the department that they are working, the sensitivity of these departments, that they subject themselves to polygraph testing and other forms of integrity testing. And that is to ensure that those who are responsible and those who are charged with the responsibility for protecting the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, the population must feel a sense of assurance that those persons have the moral integrity in order to take on and to disrupt the criminal elements, and that they can take on sensitive investigation. I'm telling you, this matter is so serious. I put out a statement yesterday that the government must be prepared to seek foreign, international, regional assistance in getting to the bottom of this matter. Because, Jason, not too long ago, the Commissioner of Police was telling the country that crime is on the decline. And what really is the problem is the fear of crime and citizens being too fixated on murders. The Prime Minister was boasting, you have nothing to worry about because they're all preparing for their grandiose 1-year anniversary, I think this coming Saturday. And they want to fool the population into thinking that there's a decline in crime. And what really is the problem is you, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, just having a fear, but crime is not going down. But crime is going down, and you have nothing to worry about. Because it is all a pattern of behavior to brainwash the country into thinking, as they're about to celebrate their 1-year anniversary in office, that we do not have a crime problem in this country, and it is because of we and our thinking that really is the problem.
So even though the numbers compared to last year, when we look, and I guess people look at the murder rate as the gauge, it's less compared to last year, you don't see the state of emergency having any form of effectiveness, even though, granted, this weekend was a very dark weekend with what we saw in Mova and the killing of Officer Eversley in South. Is there any effectiveness at all?
The murder rate has gone past last year's figures. It's, if not the same, it has gone past. It was 2 or 3 days ago, it was on par, and given what has transpired over the last 2 days, it would have gone past. What is the purpose of this state of emergency? And again, let me remind the people of Trinidad and Tobago, the president's statement as justifying this state of emergency was not in response to crime in Trinidad and Tobago, but it was in relation to specific threats coming from the walls of the prisons in Trinidad and Tobago against law enforcement officials. That is what this state of emergency is all about. That aside, we have not heard from the government with respect to that investigation, how many persons they have arrested, how many persons that they have charged, who are the suspects, whether they are suspects in custody. As a matter of fact, the statement said that the suspects are persons in custody. So persons who are within our state institutions are plotting to kill and plotting to murder law enforcement officials. And that's why I'm saying that this Zozo concept is absolute nonsense, because it does not and will not respond to some of the issues that we are faced with today. The murder of a police officer, the murder of a young child, and 4 persons or 3 persons in Mova. Those are very, very serious issues.
Well, so I'm hearing now that news coming to hand that a man has been killed in Valencia, and a woman was wounded. So that is now coming to hand here from my team in the mass control, and of course that situation in Mova. A little baby, we saw the picture of the girl. A child, you know, MP Gonzalez.
It's sad. That this child reminds me, I have a 7-year-old daughter, Jason, and I must say, last night before I went to bed and I saw those pictures, I was moved to tears, because I can't imagine what the parents of this little girl, how they are feeling this morning. I can't imagine what the community who know this little innocent child, how they are feeling this morning. If you are a parent, and you have children, you feel that punch in your stomach. And this is where Trinidad and Tobago is, in the midst of a state of emergency, and a commissioner of police and the Prime Minister telling us that crime is not a problem, it is how we think of crime. This cannot be tolerated. It cannot be tolerated.
Well, I must say, the commissioner, based on his rhetoric and his approach, we have seen a kind of iron fist approach to it. However, my question is, how do they continue in that vein, continue with the rhetoric, bring about that necessary change, and do it within the perimeter, within the boundaries of the law? Because we don't want, naturally, the response for something like this, you know, you'll want it to be very harsh, very forceful, but there still must be a due process. So I wonder, how do we balance all what's happening? Be very harsh towards the criminal element, but at the same time, don't break the law while doing it.
It's not just about being harsh towards the criminals. The criminals, when you shout and you engage in old talk, and we will come after you, and you will not find a resting place. And you think criminals, they are afraid when they hear people talk and leaders talk like that? You think the criminals are fearful when you have a Minister of Homeland Security who probably spends more time in the gym than anything else? They don't care about that. They don't care about if the commissioner gets up in the morning and says only 500 persons who are traumatizing the population, we're going to come after you. They are accustomed to that old talk. There's only one way you deal with them. You deal with them within the law and within the institutions that are charged with the responsibility of dealing with them. That if they are arrested and prosecuted today, they must find themselves before the court, and the court must adjudicate on these matters as quickly as possible. And when they are confined to state prisons, they must not find the time within the state prisons to even commit more crime. That is our problem. Because many of the crimes that this country is rocked with today, oftentimes the shots are called within the prison. So arresting a lot of these criminals and putting them in detention centers and putting them in prison is not a response, because oftentimes they go there and they conspire to create and to commit more crimes against the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. And that's the reason why I'm saying that a significant component of the problem that we face within this country today is corruption within the law enforcement fraternity and the criminal justice system in this country. If the Prime Minister is not prepared to speak to this country on these very important things, then every Monday morning we'll be hearing all talk about Zozo and state of emergency, and we're going to come after you, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that, and we have a crime plan, and all we'll be doing is lost at sea. And this country will one day, one morning, if we are not here as yet, will become unrecognizable to all of us.
There are many calling for curfew. You, of yourself, you just said that, you know, based on the circumstance in South, there should have been a lockdown of the entire South area. You think a curfew, even though I know there might be an economic impact, a serious impact via the economy, especially the entertainment sector, dinner, going out, movies, all that would be impacted. You think a curfew could bring any kind of ease at this point in time? We're talking here a nationwide curfew.
I am saying that given what transpired yesterday at the San Fernando Municipal Police, where a police officer was murdered within a police station, and 68 firearms missing, high-powered firearms, and 4,000 rounds of ammunition, that was a situation that warranted the declaration of a curfew and a complete lockdown until we get all of these ammunitions and firearms.
You saw it as that serious to lock everything down?
You must. Because, Jason, you and I don't know where these firearms are at this point in time. Mm-hmm. You understand? What transpired in Mover last night, with all of these firearms and ammunition now in the hands of criminals, 10 times worse what transpired in Mover could happen this morning, because we have high-powered weapons and ammunition now in the hands of criminals in this country. And I am saying that it would have been well justified in the circumstances for a curfew and a total lockdown to take place until we recover all of these firearms. Our borders should be shut down. And we should have searched every home, every businesses, every structure, and every crevice in this country until we recover every single round of ammunition and get it back in the place where it's supposed to be.
MP Gonzalez, in the minute that remains, I'll give you a chance to put in a closing statement.
Yesterday, this country was calling out for leadership. We should have had a primetime address by none other than the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, the head of the cabinet, and the chair of the National Security Council. The fact that the Prime Minister chose to go on social media and issue a very unfortunate release, downplaying and attempting to downplay events that took place in this country that is shaking our country at its foundation, and the fact that she refused to speak directly to the people of Trinidad and Tobago when the entire citizenry is traumatized by these events, it speaks to an absence of leadership in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. And as citizens, we should all be concerned. There's a vacuum of leadership in Trinidad and Tobago as we speak, as this country reels under the attack of criminals. And the Prime Minister sits in her home and issues releases and curious messages on social media with the dismay of people in this country. and it is very sad. We are lacking in leadership, and we are crying out for sober and sound leadership.
Opposition Member of Parliament Marvin Gonzalez touching base, and also former Minister of National Security, giving some perspective on some of the, well, what I could safely say was a most unprecedented and unfortunate weekend as it pertains to crime and criminality. And another scenario that grabbed many attention was the unauthorized, or at least the disposal, as it were, of unclaimed bodies in Komoto. We will treat with that particular development after the break. Coming in, we have founder and director of St. Rose Funeral Home, Nicholas St. Rose, to give us some clarity on this, again, unprecedented situation that transpired in the last couple of days.
Magical Expressions Limited is the largest local importer and distributor of fresh cut stems, offering the widest range of beautiful flowers at the most affordable prices. Call us today at 701-6488 or visit our website to order.
Step into ABC Doors and Windows, where quality meets variety. Discover premium wooden, steel panel, fiberglass, and steel security doors alongside aluminum, UPVC, and steel windows designed for strength and durability. At ABC, we're always a better choice, delivering products built to last and service you can rely on. Visit our showroom at 1 Chanka Trace, El Socorro South, or call 638-7184 to make your dream home a reality. Spring is here and your garden's ready for a glow-up. The Vega Garden Center sale runs April 24th to May 3rd. Get 20% off all plants, soil, pots, and fertilizer at both our San Fernando and Grand Cooper branches every day, including weekends. Whether you're refreshing your balcony, revamping your yard, or creating a jungle indoors, we're talking bougainvillas, ZZ plants, calatheas, a wide variety of crotons, orchids, bromeliads, palms, herbs, ground cover, and more. The Vega Spring Sale. Let's grow something beautiful together.
Introducing CTS College's Early Learners Academy, our physical school with a nursery, daycare, and preschool. With qualified and experienced staff, modern classrooms, and the latest teaching methods and technology, your child would get the personal care and education they deserve. Activities include potty training, storytelling, phonics, craft, academics, and field trips. Enroll your child today at CTS College's Early Learners Academy.
The fact that they ask the questions, those challenging questions that no other media house would ask. So, shed light on those things that are in the dark, those stories that no one else wants to cover.
I grew up reading The Guardian, actually. It's a household name.
About The Guardian, one thing that I like, the human interest stories have increased.
See the investigative pieces on the human trafficking. I find that very interesting.
You go more in depth.
On sports, especially local sports, and that's one of my highlights for The Guardian.
Yeah, I've been in Ghana and The Guardian started coming out, started working. I was a newspaper man.
The stories that are being covered are well detailed and you get more facts.
Also, I think the editorials, I think they're doing a good job and they're speaking the truth, and they're challenging the government to make things better.
Me in particular, of recently, the last 2-3 months, I've been reading The Guardian. I'm seeing a lot of news about the neighborhoods and the communities, and I even saw my community featured, and I was proud.
The Guardian.
The Guardian?
Guardian. Trinidad Guardian.
The Guardian.
The Guardian.
Trinidad Guardian. The Guardian is my first choice.
And director of the St. Rose Funeral Home, Nicholas St. Rose, is here with me. I'm happy that you took the time to treat with this very sensitive issue. I believe there must be death with dignity, and there must be a respectful send-off. That is the least that's required. We as human beings, what separates us from, I guess, the animals, we bury our deceased.
Definitely.
And we try our very best to give them a respectful send-off, regardless of the financial circumstance. But we know there are scenarios where, because of somebody's situation or we don't know what will bring someone to that place of being unclaimed, unidentified. Of course, that person must be buried. And what we saw coming out of the Komoto Cemetery, again, very unprecedented. I can't recall in recent history any scenario like that. Just to get your reaction to that development, and how could we ensure that never takes place again? And of course, good morning to you. Welcome,
good
Mr.
morning
Sinrose.
to Trinidad and Tobago, and good morning to you. So, okay, what happened there, right, is that Friendly Society have a contract with the government.
And who, for those who don't know, who is Friendly Society?
That is Trinidad and Tobago Funeral Service, right? And they have the contract with them. So I confused a little bit because I don't know how a post-mortem body could come out from there and go and bury, because they normally have a sign in, sign out. Right?
And these bodies would have been in the morgue at the hospital?
Yes, but what happened, they will go and take a few. But it will use stillborn, that when somebody make a baby, the hospital will tell them they can probably leave it, or if they want a funeral home of their choice. But let me say 90% of the people that normally leave through the little drama and the problem.
I guess the heartbreak, obviously.
Yes. So what happened is that I don't understand how the body leave the hospital and then it reach up to Komoto. No.
And more so, why Komoto? Because I'm trying to figure out, is there a particular area? I know that in New York, Staten Island is used as a particular area for unidentified bodies within the tri-state.
Right.
So they put the bodies there. That's a place that is designated for that.
Well, normally they go behind the racing pool and have a cemetery there.
Also, there's a cemetery behind.
For that, right.
The racetrack in.
Yeah, you just drive down the road, they've seen the cemetery there. They normally go there, but I don't know why Komoto won. And then, well, the diggers and them is really contractors. So they contract by everybody. So I don't understand. I confuse.
So, okay, so let's peg it back. We're talking here that people are unidentified, so it could be a circumstance, somebody could be socially displaced, whatever the circumstance.
Yes.
Nobody, no family has claimed you, you're just there. What's the threshold, what's the time period given for somebody to identify a body, and if that time expires, then the state decides to...
Right, let me say roughly within a month and a half, 6 weeks. Because what they will do, they will try to contact the family, and if they don't get you, they will call Friendly Society and they will remove the body from there and dispose of it.
You think there should be a longer period? Because I'm thinking, I mean, I don't know what's the morgue management
what has happened is that...
6 weeks, that's kind of quick.
No, yeah, because what has happened, once you miss a loved one, you will go looking.
Yeah.
As we speak now, I have a guy in my home where he get bounced down and nobody can find him. And it'll take 2 weeks to find him.
Oh,
but his relative from England and etc.
So what about, let's say, the socially displaced, somebody who is a street dweller? They pass away on the road. What happens in that?
Right. Well, what will happen? They will still try to communicate with the family, but if nobody doesn't come up, they will disperse the body.
And even with the. I guess the body is removed, they'll have a sending off.
It's not really a sending off, because what happened, it have nobody to attend the funeral.
So what they do, they just wrap the person?
Right, just put them in a coffin, and the diggers will help put in the body and bury.
So it's a basic coffin, basically?
Basic coffin.
So what happened in this scenario in Komoto? Were they given that right?
Well, I was confused because one, I'm hearing that it was post-PM, right? And for them to get the body, they have to sign out for the body. So I guess by this morning, they're supposed to be dealing with the attorney to find out how they get the body, because they can't just go in a hospital and pick up a body just like that. It have securities, it have paperwork to do. So it's something escalates where it reach it's unnecessary, because this reaches too far.
I mean, this is unprecedented. In all your years in your career and your vocation, have you heard of a scenario like this?
No. This is strange to me, because I never heard about this before. And then I guess I ask the guys and them who they're working for, and they call a next funeral home. But it's not that funeral home they're working for. They work for everybody. They contracted. Like, I could call you, you have a bus, I could call you and tell you what I need to go to Toko and you come. So you're not obligated to me to really work for me and me alone. Yeah.
And their contract is with the state?
No, the contract is with the funeral home. The funeral home have the contract, which is Friendly Society. I guess them is the only person that do that in Trinidad.
Yeah.
Bury stillborns and them doing that for all my time. About 30 years I've seen them doing that. So I don't know what went wrong there.
Were the unidentified bodies given at least a coffin burial, or were they put in body bags?
Well, it's supposed to be. I don't know the criteria of this now, but it's supposed to be buried with a coffin and a proper hole, which is 6 feet. So I don't know. I saw some pictures and things hanging around the shallow, but I didn't see anybody in it. So I don't know if they were still digging to facilitate what they're doing.
And I would imagine the bodies they were already been buried. So even if a family wants to, I mean, that time line is gone.
Yeah, well, it will go because of if your loved one is missing for 2 weeks, you'll be concerned and you will go to the authorities and find out what's going on. So I guess after 2 weeks and they see the person there, what happened is that long time they used to keep them longer, but the body started expired.
Started to deteriorate.
Yes. So you find now, once it reaches into that decomposition position, you find that nothing can stop it but the embalming.
And what's the turnover of these morgues, as it were? Because obviously, you know, we live, we die, you go to a morgue, and then eventually, I guess the natural order would be the family will remove the body from the hospital, and you now go to a private funeral home for the burial within a week, 2 weeks. For the unidentified bodies at any given time, what's the most that could be probably just positioned there, stationed at a morgue before they are actually removed?
Okay, once the body is there, right, because in Trinidad we have a lot of dead and we don't have space. So you find now they send the body outside our funeral home to hold for them. But once they realize that nobody can identify, they will move the body and bury it.
I've heard of situations where funeral homes actually take the body before the family and all, because again it's business, and if there's someone deceased, I know obviously the race is on and this is obviously in a normal circumstance, not this particular circumstance. What's the working culture like?
Okay,
the normal procedure?
When they go down by the mortuary, you'll find touts, right? And if they get the own will do the one, but they cannot go and take the body on their own. It's strictly no. So the family have to sign out. What happened a lot too, some of the family bringing in the body into the morgue. I have 2 right now, and they're not claiming the body, they just never come back.
So they bring it in and just don't claim?
And they don't claim, they don't come back. So they go collect the NIS, which is $7,500, and never have nothing to do with the funeral home again.
Wow. What you do in a scenario like that?
Well, we had to wait. We had to wait or get them to sign a letter stating that we could go ahead and bury because it's not comfortable for us.
Well, Nicholas, I want to thank you so much for the clarity this morning, and I trust as we look to wrap things up, what measures really in the couple seconds that remain, what needs to happen to ensure this never takes place again?
Well, what needs to happen, first thing first, as I said and I will say it again, they cannot go into the morgue and pick up a body without signing.
Yes.
They have security, right?
Well, Nicholas and Rose, I want to thank you. I mean, it's one of those morbid conversations, but it's a conversation that we must have.
I understand.
Because we are living and we must go, and we want to ensure that we understand collectively what takes place if someone is not identified, and you know, we want them to have that send-off with dignity. That's the least we can do as human beings. Nicholas, all the best to you, and thanks for touching base.
Yes, you're welcome.
Indeed. We will come back with a statement, update from the police commissioner. It's hot off the press, and we're going to treat with that as we come back. See you soon.
One life. Live your best life today with Rand Credit Union.
In the ever-changing media landscape, we at Guardian Media strive always to put you, our viewers and readers, first.
We strive to uphold the time-honored tenets of responsible journalism.
For us, accuracy is key.
And in our reporting, we strive not only to be first, but fair,
impartial,
and to uphold journalistic integrity.
Above all, we are accountable to you, and we must respect the views of our audience. That is our solemn contract with you.
Keen attention to detail.
Rigorous verification of facts.
Use of credible sources and sound editorial judgment.
Keep track of our editorial policies and guidelines, including our corrections policy, by logging on to www.guardian.co.tt for more.
Some of us like to test limits, but there won't always be second chances. Obey the speed limits. Maybe you don't value your life, but others value theirs. A message from the TTPS.
Through every storm and every sunrise, a familiar face and a trusted voice returns to your forecast.
This is where it all began.
Good afternoon, Sigourney. Welcome home. Welcome home.
Stronger, sharper, ready to serve you again.
30 minutes, the news.
Because when it comes to your weather,
I'm Sigourney Mohammed with your CNC3 weather forecast. It's good to be home.
Received some word here from the TTPS, and I'll read the following. Major breakthrough in the municipal police officer killing, 6 in custody, and firearms recovered. And a matter of fact, the commissioner was out and about wee hours of the morning. So let's go across to that particular video and get the latest from the commissioner in that most unfortunate circumstance coming out of the municipal police station in the south.
Pleasant good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. As promised earlier on today, we have left no stone unturned. At this present time, it's about 1:30 a.m. and I'm here with Inspector Wilkinson from the San Fernando CID and a small team of officers, where we have been able to recover what we believe to be a portion of the quantity of firearms that was stolen from the municipal police headquarters during the homicide of Corporal Eversley. So at this point in time, I just want to commend the officers for the excellent work that they have been doing, and we have been pushing since that time until now, and we have other officers in other parts of the division at this point in time carrying out simultaneous exercises. So, as promised, I'm keeping you updated, and sometime during the course of the day tomorrow, I will give a further update on all that we have been able to recover. Thank you.
While we're getting some of the information, and we will keep you in the loop, this is a very hot story, hot off the press, and as we get more, we will bring it to you during the course of the day. We'll take a pause and we come back with Renee Atwell, founder and executive director of Girls of Impact. And this is going to be a great coming together for young girls. We're talking May 23rd and 24th. Full details after the break.
This season, Ask the Doctor is at a new time. It's your weekly prescription for trusted medical advice. In the Doctor's Capsule, Dr. Tilak Singh breaks down big health topics clearly and simply. Get a dose of smiles in the Kiddies Capsule as our youngest experts share health tips with heart. Explore the science behind the headlines in Medical Minds, featuring real doctors, real insight, and your questions matter. Join the open forum live and get answers straight from the source. Ask the Doctor, every Thursday at 8 p.m. only on CNC3.
This is more than just music. This is where you find the best of TNT. This is more than just a vibe. This is where Bollywood gets a twist. This is more than just energy. This is Bhangra and indie pop too. This is the mix. This is the life. Lock on or log on now. Sangeet 106.1 FM. This is authentic East Indian radio. This is us.
Climate advocacy, a very important conversation, and this is definitely right up the alley for women, I would say 18 to 35. That's the official grouping there for youth, the youthful women with that youthful spirit. This is right up your alley. And to give us details, Renee Atwell joins me, the founder and executive director of Girls of Impact. Rennie, welcome to the program.
Good morning so much, and thank you for having me here today.
It's indeed a joy. Before we get into the great coming together on the 23rd and 24th of next month, May, just tell me some more about Girls of Impact.
So Girls of Impact is a national non-profit organization. We really work with young women between the ages of 15 to 35, and we work in three main areas: mentorship, giving young women guidance for getting into careers or entrepreneurship; leadership training, helping them to develop themselves as leaders, whether it's in the classroom, in their communities, or nationally; as well as volunteerism, giving them the opportunity to engage from a civic engagement perspective to understand the value of giving back. So we host a number of programs to help develop, of course, young women in all of those areas throughout the year, both in Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah, very important. And she leads climate advocacy, very intentional, very focused on what I consider a very important talking point at this point in time.
Most definitely. I think that as a Caribbean small island developing state, it's important that our young people are taught about what climate change is and how we can make a difference where that is concerned. And so it's actually one of our newest programs, because we understand that young people, they may hear about this climate change thing on the news or read about it online, but to really understand the science behind it and what they can do to advocate for it on global platforms is something that may be missing. So that is why we introduced this program for young women in Trinidad and Tobago.
How do they get involved? I understand your dates are carded, already booked for next month, the 23rd and 24th. Is this an online engagement? Is it hybrid, online and in person? Just give me some of the details.
No problem. So it's an in-person 2-day training program. And of course, we have applications on right now, and you can find the application on our website, which is girlsofimpact.org, or more specifically on our social media. We're on Instagram at Girls of Impact 868 or Facebook Girls of Impact TNT. And the applications are open until the 23rd of April, so only a few days left to apply. And at the training program, we are partnering with some amazing companies who would be assisting us in delivering this program, teaching young women about the science of climate change, about negotiating in conferences like the Conference of the Parties, COP, as well as teach them about leadership and advocacy and how they can engage from a social impact perspective.
Who are some of the stakeholders that are coming on board?
So we are currently meeting with Coastal Dynamics, we are meeting with the UE Gender Institute, we are also meeting with companies like Canary as well, and we are hopeful to have the Ministry of Planning on board as well to assist in getting the expertise needed to teach these young women about climate change from a more in-depth perspective.
Renee, I mean, you must have some other players. I'm trying to figure out if you carry all this on your shoulder, because this is a massive undertaking. Who are some of the other players in the Girls of Impact?
Well, we have a large team. Our team is about 17 to 18 persons. We have a board of directors, which is spearheaded by Chairperson Nakisha Jones, and we also have our executive team, which is spearheaded by myself. But they're all volunteers working together on bringing these programs. People who are passionate about investing back into the lives of young people.
Is that Nakisha Jones, a teacher, Nakisha Jones?
She was formerly a teacher.
Yeah.
She's now working at an international organization. Yes.
I think I know Anakisha Jones. I think we'll talk of it. I think that's the same person.
Probably the same person, but she definitely was a teacher. Because somebody asked me that recently. I spoke to her and she said, "Yes, I was a teacher before."
Yeah, I know Anakisha Jones. Yeah, and you have a real good person there
Most
on the team.
definitely.
Well, so this is wow. I mean, y'all are doing some major work in the community. How long now you've been running as this NGO?
We were formally registered in 2022. So since then, we have been running quite a number of programs. We have had significant support from both the public sector and the private sector as well. Because, civil society organizations, we help to fill the gap where sometimes the public sector may not act or the private sector may not act, but they have both been very important players in the work that we do through sponsorship, guidance, venues, just making it happen for us.
Any testimonials, anybody that you would have impacted since 2022 to now that would have come up and said, you know what, Rennie, based on your intervention, based on your advice, based on your counsel, I've had this epiphany of taken a particular turn in the right direction?
Most definitely. We've had a number of testimonials, but I can talk about one. There's a young woman by the name of Johanna Julian. She's the incoming secretary on the UWI Guild of Students. She came into our program in 2024. She entered into our career mentorship program, and since then she started university. She's on Dean's List. She's in the parliamentary leadership program, and now recently elected to the Guild of Students. So she's a great example of how our investment helps to shape positively the lives of young women in TNT.
Fantastic. I know there's some artwork. We're going to put it up on screen so you could just elaborate as to what we're seeing and, most importantly, how we could contact the team. So what we're seeing here now?
Yes, so this is exactly what I was talking about in terms of what people can experience in the program, of course, which is the learning about the foundations of climate change, the science of climate change. We have a woman in climate mixer as well, where we're bringing together women who work in climate and energy spaces to mentor these young women. And so they have a lot in store through this program, so I would really encourage young women to apply, as well as persons. If you know somebody who may be interested in the climate space, send it to them as well. We can be contacted at info@girlsofimpact.org via email.
Mm-hmm. Do you all, outside of this major engagement, do you all, what's the next big assignment for calendar year 2026?
Our next program is Accelerator. It's a program we have in the July-August vacation for young women, where we pair young women with mentors in various fields. So if you're a young woman and you're looking for mentorship, guidance, you want to get into accounting, law, entrepreneurship, feel free to follow our social media, because we always have programs and events going on that will positively impact your life.
When you were coming through the ranks, Renee, you had any opportunities like this, or you saw a void and decided, you know what, I want to make a difference and ensure that no young girl is left behind? What was the ethos really for putting all this together? Most
definitely, yes. I did see a void, and that's essentially why I created the organization, but I cannot say that I have been without mentorship. A lot of persons have invested in my life positively, and I've seen the fruit of it, and so that's why I decided to create this mentorship ecosystem where young women can receive the same so that they can be built up in their personal and professional lives.
Excellent, Rennie. And I could feel it. The way you speak, you're a light, and you could tell that you stand on the shoulders of the giants who were there before you, and you're doing what I think is only appropriate in this thing called life. You pass that baton, you give inspiration to others. Leadership for me is creating other leaders.
Correct, most definitely.
That's the beautiful thing of leadership. You bring everybody on board and say, listen, all you go out and do your thing. Yes. I'll let you have the final say, Renee, as we wrap things up.
Yeah, so I just want to encourage persons to apply to the program, She Leads Climate Advocacy. If you know a young woman between the age of 18 to 35, and they're interested in climate or energy, feel free to apply to the program. Or if this doesn't suit your interest, feel free to follow us on social media. We have a lot more coming up in 2026 and beyond.
Yeah, again, I would say 35. That's the official, based on UN Charter. They say once you're beyond 35, you're now a hard backer.
Yes.
You're back hard. You're not youth anymore. So yeah, that's a nice bracket there, nice catchment group. Yes. Rennie, all the best and congrats in advance.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me this morning.
Yes, indeed. A nice way to end it, because I mean, let's be real. Today was a heavy one, even for me, who I would come every day and try to give some perspective. It was one of those moments, one of those mornings where you're honestly a bit wary, because you know the talking points from what would have transpired in South with Officer Eversley to what we saw in Mova, to the unauthorized, or I guess just the willy-nilly way they would have dealt with the burials of those who would have been unidentified. It was a tough one, but with Renee and others in the space, you know, they bring hope, they bring that sense of continuity, and we have to keep marching on. And obviously in that regard, we, at least on a positive note, end today's program. God spare and back for more tomorrow. Be safe, and we'll keep you up to speed with all the developments as we get it right here on CNC3, coming out of that scenario in the Southland with Officer Eversley. Until tomorrow, TNT, be safe.
You're watching CNC3 as an affiliate of CNN International.